Hi, I'm Tom Jones, and welcome to another free art lesson. I want to show you again how basically you can improve your design in a particular painting. I took the liberty of putting down some color initially in an area right here on my left, where I've taken and I've put in some distant evergreen trees, as you can see. And then I put in a closer area of evergreen trees. The distant trees are a little cooler in color. I've used a little bit of cerulean blue in that case. In the foreground trees, I used a little bit of my hooker green and ultramarine blue deep to get a darker green in here. But you'll notice the problem here is that we're thinking in terms of straight lines. I would encourage you to think in terms of abstract rather than straight lines, circles, squares, rectangles, or triangles. It's fun to be neat and orderly sometimes, but don't do that in a painting. Think in terms of being a little crazy or a little more abstract to make it a little more interesting for the viewer. This gets pretty boring because the viewer sees static shapes all the time. We live in a world of straight lines and squares and rectangles and triangles. So for your painting, think outside that. Let's move over to the right side of my paper and let me show you what I mean. Again, I took the liberty of putting in a lighter value of distant trees using the cerulean blue. In this case, there's some evergreen trees back there. In this particular case, with the evergreen trees in the distance, we don't want a lot of detail. That far back, you're not going to see birds' nests. You're not going to see a lot of detail and so forth in those trees. It's just a shape or a suggestion that there's a layer of trees back there. Then we come to the foreground, as we did over here on my left, and then we start putting in a darker value using hooker green deep and ultramarine blue deep. You can use your favorite dark blues and greens to get a dark green if you wish, but I would simply suggest to you that you think in terms of maybe a little color change or value change of lighter greens, darker greens, and mid-tone greens in your painting to make it a little bit more interesting. Let me grab a brush, and I'm going to show you exactly how I would do this. I'm going to pick up my what I call my script brush. This is one that comes to a needle point and has a long hair, about an inch long, with a thick body. It's called a script brush. So I have this nice fine point where I can do fine detail, which I'll show you. And then the thicker body, I can do, let's say, the tree trunks or larger tree branches. Let me show you how it works. I'll pick up a little bit of my hooker green deep in this case, and I'll pick up some of my my ultramarine blue deep, and then some of my hooker green deep, and we'll mix those colors together. And watch how I start now my particular area of tree. Notice that thin line using the script brush with that needle point. Now I can come in and look, I can put in the body of that particular tree using this brush by just pressing down, and it's really two brushes in one. So what I want to do is I want to suggest a few of these trees. Now what I'm going to do, I started this earlier, but I want to show you how I would continue it. So I've got a darker area of tree in front of this distant tree area. I'm going to take just a moment because I want to show you how you can make this very interesting and a lot of fun at the same time. Keep in mind that we want to make this interesting. You'll notice that the trees now are not all ending on the same line, nor are the distant trees. They're not ending on the same line. So we want a little variety going on, in other words. Shorter trees, taller trees, and we've also angled some of the trees rather than having them all go straight up. More like it would be in a wilderness setting. Remember, the beauty of nature is not in perfection. The beauty of nature is in its imperfection. That's what makes nature so beautiful. So we're going to take a moment here. I want to just paint in some of these distant trees for you. And again, we want to be aware that in nature, imperfection is what makes it beautiful. So we're putting in several trees here. You'll notice I've got one that's sort of leaning here. And it's sort of what I call a Charlie Brown tree. Or maybe it's got a few branches on and about that many and then nothing else. Maybe it's just an older tree that is not grown fully. And don't think of your evergreen trees as those you see around the holiday where they're all perfectly pruned and the same size. That's not the way it is in nature. Likewise, don't think about the trees in your neighborhood because many times those trees are all perfectly pruned, same size, spaced evenly apart and so forth. And again, that's a man-made shape, not necessarily nature's way of doing it. Look how more interesting and abstract this is starting to look. Now down in this area, we may want to make this area of the tree area. This is where the trees are maybe in a forested area, and this is all in nice area that's real thick. We're not going to paint individual trees as such. We're going to paint a area of tree in this case. So again, we're having a lot of fun just making these abstract shapes. And remember, painting really, most paintings are broken down. If you break it down, it is abstract shapes, and that's what we're looking for here, is nice, interesting abstract shapes to make it more interesting. Let me continue on here. Let me take just a few more minutes, and we'll go ahead and finish this out just to give you an example of where you can go with this idea. I'm going to take and pick up my script brush again, and I'm going to come in and just put a few tree branches on some of these trees over here. And all of a sudden, we've got this very interesting forested area working out for us. A few more brush strokes here and there. To me, this is a lot of fun. I love painting wilderness scenes. The reason I love wilderness is because I've always felt that I can walk into my scene. I don't feel like I can walk into the scene if I'm doing necessarily a particular man-made structure, but in the wilderness, I can walk into my scene, and that's what I love about it. Let me just continue on with a few more brush strokes just for you to see how I'm going to put these interesting trees in a particular painting subject matter. Take just a minute more. Let me finish this off just a little bit more. And then we'll have a little fun using a little bit of a spray bottle, and I'm going to just put in a few little dots with this that creates a little texture in this grass area. And all of a sudden, we've got this wonderful, simple painting. Now, one of the things that I need to do, and I can see at the top up here, I want some of these trees maybe to go a little higher. So we're going to bring a couple of these trees up above these distant trees. So let me add in just a few trees that might be a little taller. Now, not a lot of trees, just a few, just a couple. So we'll take maybe one or two of these and bring the height up just a little bit higher for you, just to give you a little more variety of height and so forth in this particular area. Then we'll come back and we'll take another look at the part that I did that's on my left, and then we'll show you again what I did here on my right in comparison. And I want you to think about this, is how much more interesting maybe this is than this is over here. More of an abstract shape versus a static shape. This is something that I'd like to see you pay attention to when you do your paintings. Think in terms of a nice abstract shape rather than static shapes. Now, I wanted to let you know also that we're at the Art of the Carolinas here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Jerry's Artorama puts on this beautiful trade show every year. We have well-known artists from all over the world who come here to teach workshops. We have students from all over the world. We all join in at this fun location at this fun time of the year here. We have a big trade show with a lot of special pricing on products and so forth. Anything you want in the art industry is here. It goes on for several days. It's November of every year, and I hope you'll join us next year and come have fun with us painting here in Raleigh, North Carolina at Art of the Carolinas. Thank you for watching.